part 4 of the fairies here, and we got to where Jake was helping Timmy in the shed. I just need your help in the shed, Jake. They were in the shed. Jake, can you just stand next to that wooden thing, please? No, not there. Could you squeeze in the middle? There. If I can just pull the other side out. There, that's it. Jake looked up. It was like standing in a wooden tent, yet it had open slits. What's this? Jake said, stepping out from the middle. People use these to dry small clothes on. Oh, well, I'd better get back. Are you finished with me, Timmy? Yes, thank you, Jake. Timmy ran and got the 2 wet sacks. He went to leap onto Ron's workbench. However, his feet got tangled with the sacks and he fell down. The second time he rolled the 2 sacks up together and leapt to the workbench. He made it. He reached over to the wooden thing. He wondered if it would tip up with his weight. He tentatively reached over with his feet. He put his left paw and then his left foot. It was all right. It didn't tip up. It didn't feel like it was going to tip over. He picked up 1 sack with his right paw and then brought his right foot over. He had seen Rose put clothes on here lots of times, so he placed the wet sack over the top wooden bar, leapt back to the workbench and repeated the same process, except this sack was on the second bar lower down. Timmy jumped off, looked up. That was good now. That was done. He ran back to talk to the mighty tree. Well, the rats had managed to drag the 10 heavy stones through to the other side of the hedge, and then the further 13 feet to the rockery. It had taken them 2 hours, and they were sore and hungry. They all looked at each other as if they had all had the same idea. She's not nice at all, said Jake. I agree, said Simon. Me too, said Potty. And she doesn't like animals. Chris said, don't forget, Rory, she poisoned our granddad. Yes, said Rory. Well, I say we go. She's got her stones back, hasn't she? Just not exactly where we found them, that's all. They laughed. They went back to Mighty Oak to tell him they'd finished. Before they could say anything, the mighty tree said, hello again, boys. Let me just do my morning stretch. The mighty tree seemed to rise another 5 feet in the air and slowly came down. A disgruntled magpie flew off, not very happy at being disturbed. Do you know, boys, I'm very lucky being so tall. I can see for miles. That's very interesting, said Rory, but Jake started to pull Rory's arm. Let's go back, he whispered into Rory's ear. Yes, carried on the mighty tree. It's surprising the things you can see when you're so tall. Sorry, what were you saying, Rory? We have Jake put his paw over his friend's mouth. Come on, Rory, I have to tell you something. He whispered in his friend's ear again. Potty wondered what was going on. Suddenly the penny dropped, so Potty said to the mighty tree, We just want to say good morning to you all and we're all ratty this morning. Ratty? Tim roared out laughing. You're so funny, Potty. Timmy could not see why no one else thought that was funny. As I was saying, we were not in the best of moods this morning. No, you were ratty, said Timmy, now giggling. As we wanted to tell you, we've nearly finished our job. What's that idiot saying to Mighty Oak? Get off me. Why have you pulled me back here? Jake and Rory were now stood by the hedge. The other rats ran to them, half of them not knowing what was going on. Jake said, Shh. I tell you, follow me. They all followed Jake. They were back in that horrible lady's garden again. Rory said, What's going on? Yes, said some of the others, not realizing what their friends had. Jake said, Look up. What do you see? Rory looked up. Rain and more rain. No, be serious. Look again. Oh, for goodness sake. Right. I see clouds. Top of that fair ride with red swings on it. Mighty Oak and... Oh, I see what you mean. If we can see him, he can see us. They all sheepishly looked at the great tree. He gently waved a branch at them. Rory said, I suppose that means we've got to finish the job properly, doesn't it? Yes, said Jake, we do. The rats started to replace the huge stones exactly where they had been the previous day. It was now 1:30 in the afternoon, and it had stopped raining, and the family were about to leave They were going to stay with Auntie Irene, Rose's sister. Andrew was so excited they were going to visit a castle near where Auntie Irene lived. It was called Corfe Castle. It was Andrew's first castle. Andrew asked his mother for about the 8th time if she thought Mr. and Mrs. Perkins would really look after his goldfish properly. She assured him that they would. Right, I think that's everything ready. Oh no, Lulu. Rose had just remembered their cat Lulu. Ron, she called, Lulu. I'm getting her basket from the shed now. Ron White entered his shed and he found Lulu's cat basket straight away. As he came out, he locked the shed door and took the keys indoors. Lulu, he called. She was in the garden saying goodbye to her friends. She ran in through the cat flap. Ron picked her up gently and placed her in the basket. Good girl, good girl. He stroked her before putting the lid down on the wicker basket. Right. I will just put her in the car, my love, and then I'll get the cases. Right you are, Ron. Thank you. As he carried Lulu out to the car, he called Andrew. Come on, you can wait in the car. Yes, Daddy, coming. He skipped out the car. He just wanted to go now and see the castle. Mr. White took the cases to the car and went back indoors to do a last-minute check. Everything was off, locked and safe. As the mighty tree heard them close the front door, he heard them talking as they walked to the car. Rose, I know what I was going to ask you. What did you need those 2 sacks for? Which sacks? The 2 Hessian sacks, the wet ones. I don't know what you're talking about, Ron. Poor Ron looked perplexed. The sacks drying on the air, Rose. Ron, I don't know what you're talking about. And with that, she sat in the car. Ron shut her door and walked to his side of the car. I don't understand. There's some odd things happen around here. Things that have no explanation. Ron thought for a moment he would ask Andrew, but he would never go in the shed without asking. Anyway, the last time I asked Andrew who moved my shovel and left it by the tree, he told me to ask the tree. Ron got in the car and they were on and off on their holidays. It was 25 minutes past 2 and the mighty tree had called the meeting for 3:30, just in case something had cropped up with the family and to make them late. The mighty tree looked down. Who was already here? The rats are here. Oh dear, I'd better stop that. Girls, please do not wake up your brothers. They've had a hard morning. I know, said Sarah, hiding the feather behind her back, but it was their own fault. Yes, said Zoe, if they'd listened to us, they wouldn't be in trouble anyway. All right, girls, tickle and tease them, wake them up if you must. I will ask you one thing. Then you decide whether to wake them up, all right? Or not, all right? All right, said the girls. Just think, have you ever been naughty or done something silly without thinking before? The girls looked sheepishly at each other. Of course they had. They dropped their feathers to the ground. We won't disturb them, Mighty Oak. Sorry. Good girls. Now, who else is here? There was Timmy, enthusiastic as ever. The mighty tree continued looking around. He was hoping to see Norma, the feral pigeon. She was not here yet. Timmy, my boy. Yes, sir. Would you just please do a little job for me? Yes, sir, right away. Could you, gently as possible, wake Jake up for me? I need to talk to him, and then he can go straight back to sleep. All right, sir. Timmy jumped to the ground and crept to where the rats were sleeping. He bent down towards Jake and whispered in his ear. Psst, Jake. Mighty Oak wants to speak to you. Go away, I'm tired. Jake, please, it's Mighty Oak. He only wants to talk to you for a minute, please. Oh, right, said Jake grumpily. He slowly walked to the bottom of the tree. Yes, he said. The mighty tree ignored his manner as he knew he was very tired. You said yesterday that Norma's cousin was talking about a fair that stayed in the same place. Yes. Well, tell me, how did that conversation start? Well, we were all saying, all the rats, that is, that we love the fair and how we look forward to it each year. And that's when Norma said her cousin said they have this place where he lives, where they've got a fair there all the time. Jake did an enormous yawn. You said something about an article in a paper. Yes, Norma's cousin said how successful this place was. It had even been in the paper. I see. Last question, Jake. Where is Norma now? She's got squab, Mighty Oak. She's got 4 babies. She can't leave the nest. Can I take a message for you, Mighty Oak? Good boy, good boy. No, don't you worry. You go back to sleep. I think we can do this job without her. Have any of you seen the Major? When the Mighty Oak said this, the other rats woke up. Timmy hid behind the shed, and 2 blue tits flew off. Now can everyone calm down? There is nothing to worry about the Major. Timmy poked his head around the shed. He's scary. He shouts all the time. Orny, a tawny owl, said, he does seem very strict, Mighty Oak. Listen, he is loyal to us all and would help anyone. Have you any of you ever actually talked to him or to Dulcie, his wife? No, they all said together. Well, do you know why we call him the Major? No. His ancestors are famous. Do you realize what they did for the war effort? They were very brave and did very dangerous missions. I thought that was pigeons, said Rory. Yes, of course, pigeons. But it was not widely known. I will tell you not widely known. I will tell you one day. But for now, I just want you to give the Major a chance. Yes, he is very proud of his family, and rightly so. So I will ask you all to please just be nice. Yes, Mighty Oak, they all replied. Timmy helped spread the word. I will tell the birds if you can tell everyone else. I'm looking for the Major. I have an important mission for him. Oh, and Timmy, I have a mission for you when you get back. Yes, sir. Timmy saluted the mighty tree and leapt away. More and more animals were arriving. For the ones which had to leave early yesterday, Mighty Oak was going to announce the outcome of the vote. The mighty tree explained that the vote for the fair to not come back won the majority. There were cheers of delight, except, of course, from the rats and some of the foxes. Just then Mighty Oak saw in the distance a large herring gull. Was it? He couldn't quite make it out. And then as it flew nearer, yes, it was. It was the Major with Timmy on his back. He flew down gently to the ground where Timmy slid off. Thank you, sir, he said, saluting to the huge bird. The huge bird saluted back to Timmy. You wanted me, Mighty Oak. Indeed I do. I have a mission for you which could be dangerous.